All right. More and more people starting to join us, which is good. Who we got here? Jeffrey, Kana, Linda, Michael, Richard, Rav, Robs, Rod, Sangeetha, Steve, Victor Wang. G'day, everybody. Good to see you all here. We're also now streaming live into the Maxmyprofit Facebook group as well, Facebook page, which is good. Fantastic. So people can see us live there as well. Now, if you want to interact with me during this webinar, you do need to log in. A link was posted on the Facebook page about 10 minutes ago for you to be able to actually register for the webinar. But if you just want to watch it live on Facebook, you can, which is fine. Something a little bit different. For those of you that are joining me in the Zoom webinar room, welcome and thank you very much for joining me. I will be recording this as well and shooting this out to you afterwards. So definitely take lots of notes, and I will... that way you can, get as much as you can out of it right now. So shut down everything on your computer, turn your phone off, get rid of all the distractions and just focus on your marketing and on your business for now, because that's really what's important. And then later on, if you've missed anything, you will get the replay sent to you. So if you've put in an email address and you've registered through Zoom, then you will be getting that as well. Okay, so I will be recording it. In fact, I'm going to hit record right now. So that's all happening. All right. So welcome to this online training. Thank you very much for those of you that are here. One of the things that I love to do in my online trainings is make sure they're interactive. So for those of you that are in the Zoom webinar room that have joined me live there, can you please jump into the chat box and leave a little comment there where you are, what the weather is like. I'd love to hear from you. For those of you that are on Facebook Live, you can do the same thing. I can see over there. Stuart, g'day, Stuart. How you going? Will there be a guitar? So I may look a bit distracted as I try and read all the comments, but I'm going to do my absolute best to keep up with it all. But yes, will there be a guitar? No guitars today. Naomi's in Melbourne. How you going? And Richard also in lockdown, stage 4 down in Victoria. Brisbane, and the weather is stunning. Well, that's nice. I was actually planning on coming to Queensland, but they won't let me in. Hey, Ram in Rydalmere. Sydney freezing. We're supposed to be in Thurrool, but it's wet and flooding down there. Hey, Rod. Yeah, it's pretty crazy weather, isn't it? Good stuff. Well, good to see everything's working nicely. Now, I'm going to do something a bit different today. You know, one of the things that I used to do a lot was I would use, when I did webinars, I'd use PowerPoint. And I actually did do a PowerPoint presentation for today. In fact, I've got it all printed off here. And I thought to myself, you know what? I've got the technology to go old school. So I think we'll do that. We'll go old school. And the reason why I think that's, for me, I enjoy it more, to be honest with you. I enjoy just going freestyle, using the flip chart and taking you through some examples, some case studies, answering questions as we go. And that, to me, gives you more value. And then if I'm enjoying myself more, then you'll enjoy yourself more, which means that you'll get a lot out of it. So need to make a pact with you that today we are going to have a little bit of fun. Are you all okay with that? Put a big yes for me into the comment box if you're happy to have a bit of fun today as we go through this training. Whether you call it a webinar or whatever you want to call it, just give me a big yeah if you want to have a bit of fun with me today. But let's have a bit of fun talking through some marketing stuff. All right, fantastic. So I guess the first thing I want to do is, you know, for those of you who don't know me, I know some of you know me, you may, but who's been on a webinar with me before, or a training or a seminar or a workshop? Just give me a quick yes if that is you, if you've been there before. But thank you if I can recognize some of the names here. Yes, good stuff, plenty. Thank you, Steve. Yes, nice regular. All right, good stuff. Not a live one from Rob, but you've seen a recorded one. Well, welcome, Rob. Nice to see you here, buddy, live. Get this one live. Vishnu says yes. G'day, Vishnu over there. Good, thank you. Awesome, fantastic. All right, for those of you that don't know me, my name is Ben Fewtrell. I've been in the training and education and coaching industry since 2001, so I'm coming up to 20 years as a business coach. Now, I know a lot of people dread that word these days, business coach, because there's 44,000 of them in Australia and 39,000 of them are probably not very good. And a lot of people had a bad experience, right? What I'm all about is helping you actually get some value that you can implement into your business to make a big difference pretty quickly. And that's, you know, from a coaching point of view, a lot of coaches are great, by the way. There's a lot of really good coaches out there, but there's a lot of people out there that don't have the experience or the know-how to actually help you get the results that you need in your business. They haven't actually done it themselves. And one of the things that I can hang my hat on is I left school at an early age. And I know there's other people in here in the collision repair industry. I left school and became a panel beater by trade. And then my first business I started at the age of 24 was a multi-million-dollar transport company. I sold out of that at the age of 28 and I went into the business of business. And you know, what we've been doing since then is helping business owners just like you grow amazing businesses, build the business that you imagine. Now, here's what happens. Most people, when they start a business, in fact, let me ask you this question. Why did you start your business in the first place? Tell me that just quickly in the chat box. Why did you start your business? Always interested here. Why did you start a business? Why would you go into business for yourself? I'm assuming most of you are business owners in here, but looking at the people that are in here. Needed a job where you live, Angela? Yes. Okay. Yep. Get away from bad bosses. The opportunity presented itself to employ my passion, says Kerry. Yep. It became available to buy, so I bought it, says Steve. Good stuff, Steve. All right. Passion of my partner, identified a gap in the market, says Rod. Nice. To make money, more control, hopefully a passive income, happily ever after. Excellent. All righty. Now, we're going to talk about marketing today, but it's kind of interesting when you think about it. Like they say 8 out of 10 businesses fail, and they say that happens in the first 5 years. I think the failure rate's actually higher than that if you look at, you know, why people go into, if you look at the actual statistics of business and the failure rate is actually much higher. So I think you'll find that is the reality. So no one ever goes into business to fail, by the way. No one ever starts a business. When I ask that question, nobody ever says to me, Ben, I thought I'd come into business, I'd work really hard, I'd struggle to get new customers, I'd struggle to make money and fail and go out of business. Nobody ever tells me that's why they went into business. They always tell me it's things like be my own boss, freedom, more money, more time, all of those things. Now, if you've come into your business because you're good at what you do or you're passionate about what you do, or even if you've got the best product or service, that's still not enough to succeed. It certainly helps, and it's certainly important to have a great product or service or really be good at what it is that you do, but it's not enough to ensure you succeed. Now, if you think about business like this, and I'm going to use the flip chart up here, and I'm going to freestyle this a little bit, so feel free to add comments in wherever you want. I am monitoring the Facebook Live and I am also monitoring the Zoom room here. So what I want to do is I want to explain to you how important marketing is and where it fits into your business. Because your business, when you start your business, typically what happens for most people is they're really strong at something, right? And that is your operations. You're very good at doing the technical thing, or you're passionate about what it is you do. So that's ops. So that's doing the work. And this is where most people will spend their time. Okay, so 90% of their time is spent doing the work, and it's because they're good at what they do. And that's why a lot of people start a business. Is if I was a good plumber, the likelihood is I'd start a plumbing business. If I was a really good accountant, I might start an accounting firm. Or if I'm really passionate about something, I might go into that industry and I'll start that business. Now, one of the challenges with that is because I'm really good at doing that job, that's where I end up spending most of my time. Now, what happens is that marketing gets neglected. Operationally, we're really strong, but the problem with this is it doesn't matter how good you are at doing what you do. It doesn't matter how good your product or service is. If you don't have any customers, no one's going to experience it, right? Now, if we think about, I like to think about business as a set of machines, and the operations is a machine. Operations has got a job to do, and that is to look after the customers, okay? It's got to deliver, it's got to manufacture, it's got to process, it's got to do something to make sure the customers get the fulfillment that they require, whatever it might be, whatever it is your business does, operations has got to fulfill that. Before customers though, before that happens, there's other stuff that's got to happen. So I look at it like machines, a set of machines. I'm going to draw these machines up for you, so you get a feel for the way that I think about it. Now, the final machine over here is all about profitability and business, right? So this is what I call the business machine. This machine here is the converting machine. So this is the one that actually does the sales. And then the very first one is the one that does lead generation. Now, what happens is that typically when people start a business, and you tell me if this looks like when you started your business, you're at day dot, this is day 0. The first thing you got to do is what? So just jump in the chat box for me. What's the first thing you got to do? The first day of getting your business, what's the first thing you got to do? After you've set it all up, you've done the structures, all of that, what do you got to do? What's the first thing you need to get? What do you need? Jump in the chat box for me. Tell me what it is. First thing you got to get is find clients. Yes, customers. Exactly. So what happens is we get our business day dot. We start and we work pretty passionately to get clients, right? Until we get what? What happens? We get so many clients that we get what? Ben Physic. Crikey, you look healthy, Benny. Thanks, buddy. That's because I am healthy. Yep, you get busy, right? So you get busy. Now, what happens when you're in a small business that you run and you get busy? What happens? What do you stop doing first? So if we go back to these machines, you got customers, you got to look after customers now. What stops? Yeah, the marketing machine, right? So what happens is we get really busy. Stopping my pen lid there. We get really busy doing the work. No one's doing the marketing. What happens to sales? Sales drops off, right? So sales starts to drop off until what happens? What happens when sales drop off? What do you do then? Yep, drop off. What happens once the sales drop off? What do you do? Look for leads? Yeah. Panic, don't you, right? You panic because, yeah, Rob's got it. You panic because all of a sudden you realize you don't have the cash flow to pay things, right? So what do? You go and you get more customers until you get what? Until you get busy again, right? Does this look like anyone's sales graphs? So the reason for this, now I've been doing this coaching gig for, like I said, nearly 20 years. The reason for this is what happens is when you get busy and you're here, you're doing the operations, looking after your customers. No one's looking after these areas of the business. And so you end up in this vicious cycle, what I call a glass ceiling. And it's a growth ceiling that most businesses have. And it's because they haven't really worked out that what you need to do is you need to have a consistent operator of each machine, okay, if you want your machine to be effective. So when we think about marketing, we are going to talk about a lot about this machine here. I'm not going to focus much on this after this, but I just want to get your head around why I think marketing is so important and why I think it's vital that as a business owner, you spend some time working on this. I'm going to talk about time as well. But this area here feeds the next machine. Now, the next machine is your conversion machine, which is the sales machine. Now, typically when we first start a business, you're doing these things. And as you grow, you're still probably fairly involved in them. But you might find you'll employ other people. But you still need to work on these machines. And these machines need KPIs, right? KPIs is how we track the effectiveness of how these things are working. Now, lead generation might be number of leads. Okay, might be quality of leads. Might be lead quality. It might be, average dollar sale. It might be acquisition cost of lead. It might, all of those things, right? So we're going to track all of those things. They're our KPIs. Now, if this machine stops generating leads, it can't feed them into here. So if you think about it like this, when we look at the machine view, you've got your lead generation machine is going to send qualified leads across to the conversion machine. It's going to spit out all the unqualified leads, okay? This machine then needs to convert a % of those into customers. That then feeds this machine here. This machine here looks after those customers, and the customers in turn look after the business by paying their bills, and that way the business makes profit, okay? And that's how it all works. That's the machine view, if you like. Now, you could sort of also use this as a bit of an org chart, which I can see you're probably now seeing. Up here, this is you as the owner, okay, or the manager, or however you want to position yourself. What it means then is that you've got to be on top of all of this. You're accountable for how all four things work. Now, one of the reasons this happens is because you're not managing your time. So I'm going to quickly talk about the time target before I get stuck into understanding more about marketing. Now, who's read Stephen Covey's book, The 7 Habits of Highly Effective People? Anybody here read that book before? Who's read that book? Yep. Excellent. Fantastic. Well, one of the things that he talks about in there is being in control of your time, or time management. I don't believe in time management. I believe in self-management, right? So as a business owner, if we're going to work on all those machines in the right and get the results we need to understand a little bit about where when it comes to marketing, where does it fall within the tasks or the jobs that we need to do in our business? And this is the time target that Stephen Covey talked about. Now, Can anybody remember what the 4 areas are of this time target? Anybody want to have a go at it? Jump into the chat box and let me know. Anybody know what the 4 areas are? And I'll fill them in as you go. If not, I'm going to help you. But like I said, I like them to be interactive. I like you to get involved. Okay, yes. So urgent. Yep. So you've got an area that is urgent plus important. Okay, that's one area, definitely. And he calls that the demand zone, right? Now, this is the zone where a lot of you spend your time, in that demand zone. Squirrels, I like it. Gary calls it the squirrel zone. I'm going to use another color for that. So that is the zone of distraction, okay? Now, distraction are things that are not, let me use another color up here, that are not urgent. Sorry about my back to you. Not urgent and not important. Okay, that's the squirrel zone, right? The zone of distraction. Things like Facebook is a zone of distraction, isn't it? Out here, this zone here is delusion. The zone of delusion. In delusion, it is the things that are not important, but we make them urgent, okay? Commonly known as avoidance behavior. Now, a lot of people do this when it comes to marketing, because marketing or anything overwhelming, we find other things and make them more important or more urgent than what we've got to do. And so marketing takes a back seat, right? But what happens is that he identified that in the middle here, right in the middle, I'm going to use the blue one here. He called this the zone. And the zone is where we do the things that are not urgent, but important. Okay, not urgent, but important. So what type of things do you think from a marketing point of view are not urgent, or from this example here, what are the things that are not urgent, but important that you're not doing? What are the things that you haven't been doing because you're too busy working in this operation maybe? Okay, and that leads to here. Would marketing planning be one of those things? Niche identification, definitely. Tweaking your process. Now, if you think about the fact that your profitability depends on how well you generate qualified leads, how well you convert them, then wouldn't it make sense to spend some of your time working on this? Would that make sense to you, yes or no? Would that make sense? Let me know. Yeah, absolutely. So the idea is then to understand, okay, well, what should I be working on? Because I think what happens is, for a lot of you, and tell me if you can relate to this, when it comes to marketing, do you get overwhelmed with what to do, where to start, how much money to spend, what type of strategy you should use, how to measure the effectiveness? Are you overwhelmed by all of that? If that's you, then guess what? Good news, you're in the right place. It's one of the things that I've learned after nearly 20 years of coaching. As I said, I had built my own transport company, had 64 trucks on the road, got into the coaching game. One of the key things that I've learned is that most people get very overwhelmed by trying to work out where to market, how to attract new clients, how to know if something is working, and how much to spend on marketing, how to evaluate that. All of those things overwhelm people. And what happens is, when that happens, they end up doing things that are avoiding getting on with it, because you've got to do this new thing called learning, and that takes you out of your comfort zone, and a lot of people don't like that, right? So the reality is that things are uncomfortable when you don't have confidence to them. Now, what is it that gives you confidence? Can you just go to confidence.com and buy a bag of confidence? No, right? So what happens is, the thing that gives you confidence, so in all my years of working with people and coaching people, what gives you confidence is knowledge. And there's 2 ways that you get knowledge, right? You get knowledge from experience. So that's when you experience something, or you get knowledge from somebody else's experience. So here you are right now, you know that you don't know what you don't know. So you say, I need to get some more information, because that's going to give me confidence to try new things. And that's why you're here today. Well, in fact, let me tell you, why do you think you're here today? Let me answer that question. I think I put it in my email. You are here today because, pop it in there in the chat box. Who wants to have a go at it? You are here today because, let's see, anybody get it? Anybody guess? Nobody wants to have a crack at it. I know you want to learn all of those things. Yes, you want to learn more about marketing. Let me tell you, you're here because my marketing works. Okay, so I send out a marketing message to my database on my Facebook page, Facebook advertising, all of those things we do. My marketing works. That's why you're here. But the reason you're here is because you actually want to learn something. Now, I'm not selling anything today, by the way, so you can't get to the end of this and buy anything from me. I will give you the opportunity to have a chat with me if you want to chat with me further, but that's what this is about. This is about me giving you free content, helping you understand how to get better results out of your marketing. And then if you enjoy this, guess what? You can talk to me and possibly do something else. And I know, here's what I know. I know that by doing this webinar, or this training, I generate some leads, and I know that some of you will go into my conversion machine. So some of you will drop out here, not interested, not ready, but some of you will go into my conversion machine because you want to know more, and some of you will then go across to my client fulfillment machine, this machine here that's going to work with you, right? That's why you're here, and you want to be able to learn how to do the same thing, but you want to have the confidence to be able to do it. See, I know when I spend X dollars or put together one email out or do X, Y, Z, I know that I'm going to get a result. The reason I know that is because I test and measure everything, and I'm going to talk to you a bit about it today. So confidence comes from knowledge of others or knowledge from yourself. Now, one of the challenges is if you are too scared to try new things or do new things, how do you get the knowledge? Well, yes, you can read books, you can attend trainings, you can do all of those things, but nothing beats trying new things. So I say the only failure is the failure to participate. So what is it? The only failure is the failure to... If you didn't yell that out, thanks for failing. The failure to participate, right? So if you're not doing anything, I can guarantee you that that is going to create nothing, right? If you want to get results, you're going to have to try some things. Here's what I do know about marketing, right? Marketing. I can't spell. Good thing you don't need to be able to spell to market. What I do know about marketing is a lot of it fails, okay? I've been doing this a long time, and when I run marketing, there are many times when it doesn't work, okay? And I would say it's around about, I don't know, I reckon it's 80% of marketing fails. I don't think it's that high these days. We can get onto it a bit quicker, but maybe that's just our knowledge on what to do. But for a lot of people, that would be true. Have you ever run marketing that didn't work? Have you ever done that? I'm sure you have. Have you ever spent money on something and thought, geez, that was a waste of money? I'm sure you have, right? And so the reality is because you haven't learned how to market. And what happens is that then reduces your confidence, because now you have an experience which gives you knowledge that marketing doesn't work. Do you see how this can be negative to you, but it also can be positive? So this is how we get confidence, but it's also how we get fear of giving things a go as well, right? So your experiences can really mold what it is that you do. So what is marketing? So let's just break it down. What is marketing? Anyone want to have a guess at a definition? What's your definition of marketing? You tell me. How would you define marketing? What is it? How would you define marketing? I would love to hear your definition. I'm going to write mine up. Let people know who you are and what you do. Yep. I like that definition. That's a good one. Thank you, Kana. Appreciate that. Who else has got a definition? Self-advertising, actions taken to increase customers, definitely. What is it? Selling the service or products. Linda, thank you. Kerry says, get your message out there to people. Yeah, okay, good stuff. All right. So I think marketing is communication and education. And I think marketing starts well before the first sale and long after, okay? Have you ever heard the statistic that it's 6 times easier to get an existing customer to buy again than it is to get a new one? Ever heard that statistic? That's the truth, right? It's easier to get an existing customer to buy again than it is to get a new one. But how much time and effort do you put into getting new clients versus getting your existing customers to come back? So marketing is not just about advertising. A lot of people think marketing is just about writing a good ad and getting people to, like, direct response marketing, like getting people to respond to an ad. That's not what marketing is. What marketing is about every aspect of your business. And it starts well before the first sale. It's the first impression. What happens when someone walks into your shop your workshop, goes to your website, for example, jumps on your webinar, what's the first bit of experience that they get? That's how you market yourself. Things like audio quality, for example, right? I'm using a nice Sennheiser microphone. Now, to anyone who's not into audio, it probably doesn't make any sense, but it's not a cheap microphone. Why? Because I want to make sure that you get a good experience. That's all part of marketing. So when you serve your customers, what sort of experience do they get? That's part of your marketing. The follow-up process that you have, that's part of your marketing. What happens once a new customer starts with you? How do you make sure that you keep engaged with them? Do you check up on them? I mean, how many of you have bought a new car in the last 6 months? So just a hands up if that's you, just put a comment in. Yes, I bought a new car. Who's bought a new car in the last 6 months? Or moved into a new house? Who's done that? Would love to hear from you. Who's done that? New car or moved into a new house in the last 6 months? Who's done that? Now, if you've done that, I'll be interested to know, has the person that sold you that car or house rung you and made sure you're still happy? Probably not. Okay, I can see a couple of you have. Probably not, right? This is the reality, right? And this is the challenge. So marketing is more than just about getting the sale, because your opinion of that person actually reduces because they haven't contacted you, they haven't checked up on you, they haven't had any contact with you, they haven't given you any follow-up, they haven't done any of those things. And, and unfortunately, that's typically how it happens. Now, I can see Ben says he's got a new car, Rod's got a new car. Did they follow you up, guys? Did they follow you up afterwards? Have they contacted you and said, are you happy? No. And I know, Ben, I know you bought a Maserati, I think. Is that right? I think so. Like, you'd think a premium brand like that would follow you up, wouldn't they? What did you buy, Rod? Interested to see. You'd think that if you bought a premium brand, they'd follow you up, but they don't, And so this is a real challenge. So that's part of their marketing. You'd think that they would follow you up. They should be contacting you. So I think it's communication and education. So what do you want to communicate? Well, I like to think about it like this. You got to communicate what's available. The first thing I always ask people when I say, do you want to increase your sales? And I'm going to ask you that question. It's a rhetorical question. Do you want to increase your sales? The answer is probably yes. I'll then follow it up by saying, do 100% of your customers know 100% of everything you have available? I'll ask that question again. Do 100% of your customers know 100% of everything you have available? So the first thing you should think about when you build your marketing plan is, have I communicated to my current customers effectively? Because if they don't know everything that is available, they're not going to be able to buy more stuff from you, right? So that first question, ask yourself, do they know what's available? Do I communicate how to buy from me? Now, it is amazing how many places have things like payment plan options or finance options or, FPOS, credit card payments. It's funny how many or online platforms for taking, purchases online. It's funny how many places have got these things put in place. They've put the systems in place, but they actually haven't explained to their potential customers or their current customers that they can use those different ways to buy. Okay. Got to tell them what's available, how to buy. What about when to buy? You can communicate that. Oh. Tell your customers when to buy. So what to buy, what's available, how to buy it, when to buy it, where to go to get it. Like, all of these things have to be part of your marketing, right? So you've got to make it really, really clear. A lot of people think that this is just too basic, but the reality is, if you're not doing these basic fundamentals, I can tell you, you are missing out on a stack of sales. I don't know if you've heard of a little place called McDonald's, a little restaurant. In fact, they call it a restaurant. Has anybody been there? Restaurant, McDonald's. Let me tell you something that I learned about them recently, how very good they are at their marketing. Has anybody been to McDonald's recently? Or do you go to the same McDonald's on a regular basis for the drive-through? Did you know, I was talking to a part of a mastermind group, and we were talking about, getting existing customers back. And we're just talking about different things that were happening. One of the guys has restaurants, and he put a sign up, and the local McDonald's guy came across and said to me, would you mind taking your sign down, because it's stopping my customers, it's reducing my sales. And the guy said to him, he said, well, how's it reducing my sales? How's it reducing your sales? I put a sign up saying I'm opening in 6 weeks' time. It shouldn't, none of these customers are coming to me yet. Why is it reducing your sales? And he said, well, what's happening is we have number plate recognition on the drive-through. As the car comes in, on the display screen where the menu is, it has suggestive items based on what that person normally buys. And instead of them looking at the screen now, they're looking up at the opening soon sign over here. So it was costing him his little add-on sell that he would normally get. Now, did you know McDonald's were doing that? I had no idea. I thought, how good is that? So what they're doing is you're driving through the drive-through, they've got number plate recognition. It knows what it is that you normally buy, and it will give you a suggestive sell based on what you normally buy. Isn't that insane? On the screen. Keep an eye out for it. And McDonald's has always been one of the greatest innovators. Now, if you think about it, let me ask you this question. When I was younger and I'd go to McDonald's, and I don't know how old everybody is here, you go through you'd order whatever it is, whether it's the drive-through or go in the store, and you buy your burger, and they would say, would you like fries with that? Do you remember this? Would you like fries with that? That's what they would say. Now, I haven't been to McDonald's for a long time, so I'm not sure exactly what their suggestive sell is now, but they'd say, would you like fries with that? Now, they didn't do that because you looked hungry, did they? Why did they do that? Why did they ask you, would you like fries with that? And why do they spend so much money on training and developing all these systems for cross-selling and upselling? Well, they said, would you like fries with that? Because 3 out of 10 of you said yes. And in the United States alone, when I last looked about 15 years ago, whatever it was, when I did the research on these guys, that was making them another $22 million a day. One question, $22 million a day. Absolutely incredible when you think about it, right? So they were always working out, their marketing is all about making sure that you are buying or maximizing the purchase that you make. They're trying to now tailor their experience for you based on your behavior using number plate recognition. I mean, they're going to use face recognition maybe as you go in the store. I don't know. Like, it's pretty incredible when you start thinking about it. But they would say, would you like fries with that? Now, what happened was, over a period of time, somebody that was very clever got into the McDonald's boardroom and said, well, let's have a look at our average dollar sale. Now, this is another big part of marketing, right, is average dollar sale. Now, you should know on average what a customer spends with you, because this is an area of opportunity. It's much easier to get a customer to spend more with you than it is to get a new one, right? So when we think about our marketing plan, this is another area that we need to focus on. So I always say, do 100% of my customers know everything that is available? Because if they don't, this is what it's costing me. I can increase my average dollar sale. Well, some smart cookie in the McDonald's boardroom said, we need to increase our average dollar sale. I've got an idea. And they said, what's your idea? He said, we're going to make meals. Okay, we're going to make McValue meals. That's what they called them, McValue meals. Do you remember this? You probably have heard of these before. We're going to make McValue meals. And instead of having to say, would you like fries with that? We're just going to assume everybody wants fries. Okay, so now what we're going to do is we're just going to make everything a meal. You can't buy a burger on something, you can, but it's not that clear, right? Instead, you buy a meal, and in that meal, you'll get fries and a drink. Okay, so we no longer have to upsell that. And then somebody in the boardroom said, well, if we do that, what are we going to add on sell? And they said, let's add an apple pie. So they did that, right? So you buy a meal, now you're going to I'll have McValue meal number 1. And then they go, would you like an apple pie with that? Or would you like cookies with that? Do you remember the cookies, the McDonald's cookies, right? So they were always looking at how they could increase the average dollar sale. They kept adding they're always evolving. They're a great company to keep an eye on because they're very, very smart when it comes to marketing. Now, what is it that you remember most about McDonald's? When I say McDonald's, I want you to type into the chat box what you remember. What does it mean to you? What does it visualize? What does it give you? What sense does it give you? What do you think about? What's the first thing when I say McDonald's? Happy Meals, okay. Plastic toys, interesting. Alty, goodness, maybe salty. 3 a.m. drunken feed, salty, yeah, salty, okay. What else do you reckon? Convenience. Yeah. Quick. They're everywhere. Good stops, long distance. I shouldn't. System. Okay, so look at all the answers that are hopeless. Look at all the answers I'm getting right. So, and all of those things are good. Nobody said amazing burgers. Nobody. Nobody said amazing burgers. In fact, who could make a better hamburger than McDonald's? Right? So it's not. So here's what we learned. Marketing lesson number 1. If I go all the way back here, having the best product or service does not mean I'm going to sell the most. Okay, marketing lesson number 1. So write that down. So if you're agonizing, if you're one of those people that's agonizing over how good your service is, or if you're agonizing over how good your product is, if that's your values, I've got to have the best product on the planet, it may mean that you're going to sacrifice being the most successful business, because they have proven you do not have to have the best quality hamburgers to be the best. Now, they might say their burgers are quality, but they're not, right? I could make a better hamburger than they do. The reality is that they know that it's not about the quality of their hamburgers. It's got to reach a certain standard, but they know that's not the success formula, okay? The success formula is the ability to communicate and educate to you everything that's available, how to buy it, when to buy it, why to buy it, all the value, okay? They know how to communicate it to the point when I said to you, what do you think of when I say McDonald's? You're saying things like Happy Meals, convenience, okay? All these things. Now, if you think about these are the, some of these things are benefits to you. One of the things that their marketing does really, really well is you know that you can go to a McDonald's anywhere in the world and find a clean toilet. And that's one of their marketing strategies. So if you go into a boardroom meeting with them, they say, part of my marketing is a clean toilet, okay? So when we think about marketing, I just want you to think more than just advertising. I'm going to talk about targeting. I'm going to talk about advertising. I'm going to talk a bit about how to write a good ad, but I want you to think deeper than that, right? I want you to think about, what does the customer experience looks like? What does it look like? And how are you making sure that your current customers know everything that's available and how to buy it from you? And you might be going, oh, but Ben, you don't understand. I can't sell more stuff. I don't do these other things. I want you to think about what you can do, because remember I said that the only failure, what did I say? The only failure, where did I write that? I wrote that back here somewhere. I wrote the only failure is the failure to participate. That's the only failure, right? So you need to, rather than say, I can't do that, what I want you to say is, how can I make that work for my business? How can I implement this? Sure, you're not McDonald's. You don't have McDonald's budget. You're probably not going to have number plate recognition. You don't have the systems in place that they have, but it doesn't mean that you can't say, how can I apply this to my business? So for example, I'll give you an example. Years and years ago, before Bunnings stripped the small hardware store of all their business, which it did do, there's no doubt about it. That's a whole nother webinar. I worked with a small chain of hardware stores years ago. I'm talking years and years ago. And what happened was, people would, now let me ask you this, have you ever painted your own lounge room at home, or your own, like a room at home? You've gone to the hardware store, you bought a pint, like a pail of paint, like a 4-litre bucket of paint, a tin of paint, and gone home and then realised that you needed something else. I don't know, drop sheet, brushes, terps, sandpaper, masking tape, something like that. Has that ever happened to you when you've done that? Have you ever gone to and that happened to you? Yes, I can see some people saying yes. Yep, okay. Now, and you could apply this to anything, right? You go to a shop, you buy one thing, you get home and you realise you've forgotten the other 5 things that you need, or one of the other things that you need to get the job done. Now, do you think that the person at the hardware store, when you went in there, could have had a checklist, right? So, in this example here, they didn't have any technology. All they did was have a checklist. So what would happen is you would go in there and they just say, just so I can help you best, would it be okay if I asked you a few questions? I can see you've got a tin of paint there, and it wouldn't matter what you bought. They would have a checklist to go along with it. So if you bought, a drill, they would ask you about drill bits, extension leads. If you bought a bucket of paint, they would say, they'd have another checklist for a bucket of paint. It would be, do you need any brushes? Do you need any drop sheets? Do you need masking tape? Do you need turpentine? Do you need rags? Do you need, what else do you need? Like they would get rollers. What else do you need? They would go through a full checklist. Now, that alone increased their average dollar sale by nearly double. Okay, because what would happen is, you're right, I do need that, I do need that, I do need that. Okay, and so just it doesn't have to be a complicated technology, like a technology-driven system that like McDonald's is. It can be just a simple thing like a checklist. All right. So when you think about it, the only failure is the failure to participate. So as I go through some of these examples, if you say that won't work for my business, I want you to say, how can I make that work for my business? All right. So let's talk about the 5 steps of putting together a marketing plan, because I want you to really get a bit of clarity about what you can do. But have I really hammered home the importance of understanding where marketing fits in your business, and that it isn't just about advertising for new customers. Okay, so if you came here today wanting just ads for your new customers, sure, you're going to get some tips and hints on how to write ads, and we're going to talk about that, because the same thing applies to your marketing to existing customers, by the way. But if you've got existing customers, that's where I would start. I would definitely start there first, communicating to make sure they know of everything that's available, and then start looking for external customers, because it's 6 times easier, 6 times cheaper, 6 times quicker to get existing customers to buy from you again than it is to get a new one. All right, let's just put that out there, which is great statistics for you. So let's start with our 5 steps. Okay, my first question I always ask when I start building a marketing plan is I want to know, who is my ideal client? Okay, ideal client. Now, you may have heard this as being avatars, like a client avatar, or they use other names for anyway. You would know what I'm talking about, right? And so when I talk about an ideal client, it's not just somebody with a pulse and a wallet. All right? There's a lot of people say, oh, I'm looking for people 20 to 50 with money. Not good enough, right? I want to know who your ideal client is. Now, an ideal client is somebody who does a certain, that they behave in a certain way. And the clearer you can get on who this is, the easier your marketing becomes, because then you can start to write your marketing and your messaging around who it is you actually want to attract. So you might think about things like, do they haggle over price or not? Okay, so an ideal client for me wouldn't haggle over price. Okay, that would be the first thing that I'd want. The second thing is they don't complain. Okay, they wouldn't complain. Instead, they work together for a resolution if something is not right. Okay, something like that. An ideal client would give me referrals. Okay, so I'd start to write out. Sorry, my writing's a bit messy there. I would start writing out a list of what an ideal client looked like, okay? Now, if you can't do it this way, an easy way to do it, if you've got existing customers, is to write down the names of who they are. Steve, Kerry, Linda, okay? I'd write out the names of the customers that I love dealing with, right? And then what I do is I go, okay, well, why do I like Steve? What does Steve do? Well, Steve comes on all my webinars. He pays all his bills. He never complains. He gives me referrals. Kerry's been around, a couple of years, great client, also gives me referral. Like, I can start to write down what it is I love about those clients. Okay, so sometimes people struggle with identifying who their ideal client is, but they can identify who their ideal clients are by thinking of the person. All right, so this is a really good trick for getting clear on who your ideal customer is. Now, you'll also be able to then say, who are my not ideal clients? And what I like to do, this is something I learned many years ago, was to grade customers, okay? And grade them into 4 categories, okay? My ideal clients are awesome. Okay, these people are awesome. So they're my A grade clients. So when we think about when I'm spending my money and time marketing, who do I want to attract? I want to attract the people that I enjoy the most. The people that when your phone rings, you press the red button, they're not your awesome clients. Okay, and I know you do it because we all do it, especially with these phones these days, we can know who's calling us, right? So you want to think about who are my awesome clients, because that's who you want to attract more of. And they might be more profitable, they might stay longer, they might give you more referrals, they might be easy to deal with. You've got to decide who they are, but you need to know exactly who they are. And sometimes it is helpful to think about, okay, who falls underneath these other categories. So B is then for basic. Now, basic is still okay. They're just not as good as awesome. So maybe my basics don't give me as many referrals. Maybe my basics don't, they're not as profitable. Maybe they don't buy as often. Maybe they don't spend as much, right? So that's for us to decide. Now, C on this scale are the ones that I can't deal with. They're the ones that are difficult. So these customers are the ones that complain. They're hard to please. They always want to haggle on price. They're just a bit of a pain, okay? Can't deal with. And then the Ds are my deads. They're the ones I want to get rid of, okay? So what I do is I say to people, these are the people I want to attract. I don't want to attract these. So when we think about qualified leads, these are the people that always want to haggle on price. They take ages to pay. They whinge and complain at every little thing. They're not fun to deal with, and I press the red button when they ring. These are the ones here that are a bit hard to deal with. But if I can train them to be basics, I'll keep them. Okay, so I might include them in my marketing. But definitely when I think about who I want to attract through my marketing, it's going to be these people up here, the A's and the B's, the awesomes and the basics, because basics is where a lot of the awesomes start, and then I can train them up to be better clients. All right. Does that make sense? Let me know if I'm losing you at any stage. So when I'm thinking about, the first thing to decide is, who will I be targeting? Who is my ideal customer? So I can then work on the next level. Now, once I've worked out who my ideal customer is, I can go to the next step, which is to say, where will I find them in their highest concentration? So when I know who my ideal customer is, it makes it much easier for me to target them. Okay, so I can start to think about what type of things they might be reading, where they might be hanging out. Are they members of associations? So if I go back here and I look at these names, I can actually say, well, do they belong to an association? Because if that person who is my ideal client belongs to some sort of a group, it's possible that in that group are going to be more amazing people, more than possible, right? So that means that when I do my marketing, I can start to think about, how do I market to that group of people, or that are the people that are in that association. And in today's age, it's actually very easy to do with things like Facebook marketing, LinkedIn, email marketing, associations. You could do a strategic alliance partnership where you partner with an association. So that could lead me to getting more A-grade Steves into my client list. Okay. Maybe, when I ask myself, where does Steve hang out? Maybe Steve likes surfing, so he hangs out at the local surf club. Maybe Steve likes, riding adventure motorcycles. Maybe he likes bushwalking, right? So I can start to really think about where I'm going to find this ideal customer. And, I can think about things that they might do in their spare time, things that they might read, Facebook pages that they might visit, even Facebook groups that they might be on, maybe industry groups, etc. And then I can start answering this question, where will I find them? It's much easier. Okay, so when I typically help someone build a marketing plan, they struggle with where I'm going to find them because they don't know. Okay, so, and this is the biggest problem, right? And usually I find, like, it's a bit like a target like that. Usually what I find is that when it comes to targeting, that's where most people's marketing lets them down. Most. 80% of your campaign when you do marketing has got to be focused on targeting. Okay, if you're not hitting the spot with your marketing, it'll be because you haven't really worked out where to market. So most people, when I talk to people about their Facebook marketing, for example, not working, it's because their targeting is incorrect. Okay, they're not targeting the right people. And the reason why it's so easy to do that on Facebook is because 90% of the population are on Facebook, or 80% of the population. I think there's, last count, there was like 19 million. And I think the population is 20 something million. So anyway, it's about, 75% of the population are on Facebook in Australia. So it's very easy to target the wrong people because they're there, right? If you're, for example, I'll use Steve as an example. I know Steve's in the collision repair industry. If I'm targeting people in the collision repair industry and I target people through a collision repair industry publication, it's unlikely I'm going to miss target. Very unlikely, because the people that are reading that publication are not going to be outside of that target market. Does that make sense? So this day and age, it's getting easy to miss our target because there is such a big target when it comes to some of the marketing strategies that you might use. But you need to work out where they are. Now, for example, let me do a quick quiz. This is where you get to play along. If I was a newborn baby photographer, okay, and I worked out that my ideal customer was a new mum that had a disposable income, who wanted to get more than just an iPhone shot of their new bub. They wanted professional photos, and ideally was maybe their second child, and on their first child didn't capture the moment as well as they'd want to. And I knew that about this person, and that they could afford to pay a photographer. So like I said, they've got a few bucks. Where would I find them in the highest concentration if I was looking for that customer? So I'm a newborn baby photographer, targeting mums, second babies, got a bit of money in their pocket and want to make sure they capture the moment with more than just an iPhone. Where would I find them? Okay, mothers groups, definitely. So that's the first one someone's put up there, mothers groups. So I could market myself or join mothers groups on things like Facebook, LinkedIn, online forums, maybe local mothers groups. Okay, preschool groups, definitely. If I was a second-time mum, there's a likelihood that I've got a first one in preschool or maybe in primary school, definitely. Where else would I find them? Where else would I find them? So as I put this marketing strategy together, I haven't even thought about my offer yet. See this? All I've thought about so far is who is my ideal client and where I'm going to find them. Photography groups, possibly, definitely. Where else? Private hospitals, definitely. Absolutely. Baby care product shops, yes. So baby supplies, like, you know, where they sell prams and strollers and things like that. Natural food groups, possibly. At the gym, maybe. I'm going to start. So when I go to the gym, though, I'm going to definitely get the likelihood of mistargeting is more likely, isn't it? Because other people will be at the gym. But if I'm targeting at a mother's group or a preschool group, my targeting is probably going to be a little bit better. Still could mistarget though, because maybe they're not having new babies. If I go to the private hospital, the maternity ward, I'm probably going to be right on target, right? So mistargeting is going to be very difficult. Now, those ones that are a little bit, the milk powder aisle in the supermarket, definitely, I could just hang there, couldn't I, with my camera? Be a bit freaky. But, you know, when we think about targeting, you know, the more defined I can get, so I don't miss target, the harder it can be sometimes to market there. Okay, we just need to know that. So for example, you know, mothers groups are going to be very protective of their group of mothers. All right, so you couldn't just rock up to a mother's group on Facebook and start promoting your business in there, because they would probably be protective of those people. We need to keep that in mind. So, you know, when it comes to targeting, you're on the right track though, everybody. I can see lots of great answers there. You are definitely on the right track. Okay, so that's where I'm going to find them. So I'm going to say, so I'm just going here quickly to a couple of notes, make sure I'm not missing anything that I wanted to cover, because I can just see my clock ticking away. So after I do who, I'll do where. I'm going to then do my next one. I'm going to do, and I need to do this before I write my offer, is I need to work out why they're going to buy from me. Now, this is another critical step that a lot of people miss out. So it's one thing to say, and if you can see what's happening here from a marketing point of view, I've gone, all right, I know who my ideal customer is, right? I've worked out who they are. I've worked out where they're going to be. So in their highest concentration. So my targeting is going to be more likely to be accurate. Now what I do, and I still haven't made an offer or sent a message yet, I'm working out why will they choose me over the competition? Why will they buy from me? Okay, what are the benefits? I need to be able to clearly define what are the benefits of buying from me. Now, one of the things that happens, is it benefits or benefits? Benefits. Never could spell. Like I said, you don't need to be able to spell to market. So what happens quite often when I say to somebody, why will they buy from you? They'll vomit out features. We have the guarantee, we do this, we do this, we do this, we do this, right? That is not what your customer is interested in. So when it comes to marketing, what your customer is interested in is what I call radio WIIFM. And soon that'll be a poor way of describing it, because the FM radio stations will go, it'll all be digital. But anyway, what's in it for me? Okay, that's what your prospect is thinking about. What's in it for me? So when you're marketing your features, you've got to turn them into benefits. So for example, when you look at an ad for an air conditioner, do they talk about the rotation of the fan in the unit being a feature? Or do they talk about the fact that that air conditioner can cool down 6 times faster than any other air conditioner, meaning your comfort, you get to a level of comfort quicker? Okay, what do they talk about? When they talk about, power in a car, they don't talk that. When they talk about features, they talk about the benefits, about keeping you safe. For example, if it has airbags, they talk about airbags, so they know that you're concerned for your safety. The benefit is safety. When they talk about fuel efficiency, they talk about going extra on for your dollar, right? They talk about you saving money. They talk about the benefit to you, right? So when we talk about why they're going to buy from you, it can't be because we're the best. It can't be because, you know, our product is, we've been around 30 years. None of that matters. What matters is what's the benefit to your customer. Okay, so that's what you've got to be thinking about. And it can't be price. I'm not a big fan of discounting, right? So, and I'll give you a quick example why. So it can't be because you're cheaper. If you compete on price, by the way, that is a race, and it's a race to the bottom. It's not a race you want to win, all right? So when it comes to competing on price, here's the way that I like to explain discounting. Let's say you sell a product for $100. Let's say you're that photographer, and you sell a baby shoot for $100, and you pay a contractor $80 to do the shoot for you. How much money do you make? Pretty straightforward answer. Anyone got the guess for me? Excellent, 20. So your gross profit is $20. Now, if I'm that same photography business, but I decide I'm going to try and use a discount as my marketing strategy, and I take 10% off, and I now charge $90, I've still got to pay my contractor $80, but now I've reduced my gross profit to $10. So here's a question for you. How many more do I need to sell to make the same amount of profit? Who wants to have a stab at that? How many more do I need to sell? Whilst I have a drink. How many more do I need to sell to make the same amount of profit? Yeah, twice as many. You got it. Twice as many. So I've got to sell twice as many to make the same amount of profit. So discounting is not a good marketing strategy. And a lot of people discount because they think it's going to generate more leads. And that's why people are going to buy from them. Now, there are reasons to discount in a business. There's no doubt about it. There are times. But unfortunately, you are seeing shops, in particular retail, do it. And when you see retail do it, they do it on a big scale, and they all do it. And what that leads to is you thinking that that is the way to market your business, and they're training you. But those retail businesses, they're run by accountants that understand the numbers. They've got data coming out their wazoo, and they know what it costs them to hold stock, what it costs them to move stock, what's going to go out of fashion. They know all of those things, right? So they're clearing old stock. They do it deliberately, right? Someone like Apple, how often does Apple discount their products? Very, very rarely, right? They very rarely do. They've got a very smart plan where right now you can buy an iPhone 11 Pro, or you can still buy an iPhone 10, I think, because so they've still got models that have been superseded that they're still selling. They just do it at a cheaper price point. So they've got a very, very clever marketing plan. What I say is you want to add value. You want to make sure people are willing to pay more. So you want to be more expensive than your competitors. So for example, in this example, if I put the price up by 10% because I added value, so maybe I added extra photos, or I did something extra, maybe a baby product that didn't cost me much, but I added value, I can now sell my product for 10% more, which means that now I'm making $30 instead of $20. So if I was to charge more than my competitors, how much less could I sell but still make the same amount of profit? Anyone want to have a stab at that? Who wants to have a stab at that? Because this is a really important marketing lesson. I'm going to increase my price by 10%. I'm going to add extra value in, or maybe not. I'm just going to already add value maybe. So if that is what I do, how many customers can I afford to lose and still make the same amount of profit? Half as much? Not quite. Not quite. Good guess, Rob. Thanks for guessing. Yeah, a third. There you go. A third. You've worked it out. 33%. So if you do the maths, if I sell, let's say, 10 of these, I'd be making $200. To make $200 over here, I don't need to sell 10, do I? I only need to sell, 7. Okay, so I can sell 30% less and still make the same amount of money. So when it comes to why they buy from me, you really need to be able to add value, and it could be a guarantee. It could be extra stuff that you include. It could be, you've got to work out what makes you different. You've got to differentiate yourself from the competitors without having to discount your prices. Okay, why would they buy from me? All right, so now that you've done that, the next thing to do is to choose what your offer is going to be. Okay, so now you understand that adding value, So let's just quickly recap again the 5 steps. We worked out who our ideal client was. That led us in discovering where they are. And remember, they're going to be in different segments. So you might come up with, 20 different markets, just 20 different places to market yourself. That's okay. You're going to work out why they're going to buy from you. What are the benefits from buying from you? What value do you give them? What differentiates you from the competition? Now, and only now, can you work out what you're going to offer. Okay, so you can start to put together an offer. What is it I'm actually going to offer my prospect so they want to buy from me? What am I going to offer? Is it, so I'll give an example. If I was that photographer, a lot of photographers will offer a free shoot. And you probably think, geez, how can you offer a free shoot? Well, they want you to buy the prints. You might, and once again, if you understand your acquisition cost, if you understand how much it costs you to get a customer, how much money you make per customer, it may be better to give away something to get something back. So you think about it, a service station. Anybody filled up their car recently? Who's been to a petrol station? Because a petrol station is a classic example of a company that has a good offer. Their offer, what do they offer? So they understand who their ideal customer is, and they know that you have a car, but they also know that you like convenience. They also know that you like other things, right? They've worked you out. So what do they offer? They offer petrol. They offer petrol. And then they offer, 0.4 cents a litre off. Okay, that's what they offer, right? They've got offers. And then they offer another 0.4 cents a litre if you spend what? $5 in store, right? Spend $5 in store and you get another 4 cents a litre off, right? This is the offer, right? So they offer petrol. Petrol actually doesn't make them very much money. Okay, if you does anyone know anybody with a petrol station? Anyone know how much they make per litre? Anybody know? I can tell you it's not much, okay? Typically, they'll make somewhere between 0.0, I don't know, 1 to 0.06 cents per litre. It's not very much, right? And if you think about a 40-litre tank, what are they actually making? Not much, okay? Where do they make their money? Where do they make their money? They make their money by selling the most expensive Mars bars in the planet, okay? Mars bars or milk or dog food. In fact, they make more money out of you taking money out of their third-party ATM than out of filling up your car. Okay, so there's a reason why in this day of technology, you still can't Apple Pay for your fuel at the Bowser. The only service station where you can pay for your fuel at the Bowser are at the ones where they have their own credit card. Why? Because they're making money off the credit card. So their fuel, petrol is their offer. Okay, that's the thing. That's their loss leader to get you in. They know you're going to come in and fuel up. Then they've got to be really good at upselling you. Now, if you ever get to the counter in the petrol station, the counter is laden with offers, chocolates, chewing gum, cigarettes, Krispy Kreme donuts, fruit. They're trying everything, sunglasses, hats, beanies. Right now there's probably masks, right? They've got all of these things on the counter because they know that when you come in, that's what they're going to offer. They're going to get you in with their offers, 4 cents a litre off. Now, I can bet you've driven past a service station to go to another one to get 4 cents a litre off, when realistically, it might save you $2, realistically, right? So these are the things that, when you think about what am I going to offer, you can start to think about how am I going to entice the customer to deal with me. So, for example, if I was a newborn mum and I was looking for, something, maybe not even to do with photography, what would it be that I would be looking for? Because maybe that's what I offer. Maybe I offer maybe I offer a community online for new mums to share tips and hints. Maybe I build that community. Okay, so by doing that, I create my own marketing channel, and that's something that I could offer. And this is when it comes to offering stuff, you've got to really think about how can I tailor my offer to differentiate myself and get people taking action. Now, a good offer will always stop people in their tracks. Okay, and a reason why a lot of marketing fails is because offers are too weak. So I'll give an example of an offer real quickly. I worked years ago as coaching a remedial massage therapist. Now, this massage therapist was charging $50 for a 1-hour massage. That's how long ago it was. I don't know how much they are these days. Massage. Now, she wanted to do some marketing. And when I started with her, the deal that she had, actually it was $55, that's right. Or it was 50, I can't remember, it was $50, that's right. The deal she had was 10% off. That was what she put in the paper. So she had this ad running for 10% off of $50. Now, I don't know about you, but if you quickly do the maths, that is $5. Not super exciting. So we said, well, who is our ideal client, right? So this is, I started here. And I said, who is your ideal client? What do they like? What do they do? Let's run through who your ideal clients and tell me a bit more about them. Tell me what it is that they like. And she told me they like relaxation music. Okay, so she said they like, rainforest sounds, and they like yoga, and they like, stretching and all these things, right? But one of the things that came up that they liked was essential oils. Now, I know I've got somebody on here that loves essential oils, Kerry. When she worked out, her customers loved essential oils, and when they came in, she didn't charge for essential oils. She loved them, so she had them, burning away inside her massage, remedial massage therapy place, and her clinic is the right word. And people would go, oh, I really like that. And they'd then say, how can I get some of those? Can I buy some from you? And she didn't sell them at that stage. But then what she decided to do was, as a result of that, she started selling them. And she had an essential oils pack, I think it was about $28. And it had 3 oils. And it was the 3 oils that she used. Anyway, I said to her, well, how many of those do you sell? And she told me that she sold a few of them. And I said, well, how much does it cost you to make that little pack? And that little pack cost about $4 to make. She bottled them herself. She'd buy it in bulk, and she'd make it cost her about $4. So I said to her, well, if it's worth $28, why don't we give that away instead of giving 10% off? Because now, instead of giving somebody $5, I'm going to give them $28. But here's what we're going to do. We're going to increase this price from $50. We're going to increase it to $60. We're going to increase the price to $60, and we're going to give away a free essential oil pack for every first person that buys this for their first massage session, valued at $28. Now, this thing went gangbusters, increased their conversion rate off the planet. So if we have a look at what's happened here, because a lot of people think giving away something as an offer is going to cost them money. Now, it cost us $4, so minus $4. We added $10. Okay, so now we've got a net gain of $6. Okay, so we've gone from an average dollar sale of $50 to $56. Okay, which is a little bit over 10% increase in our average dollar sale. But what happened that as a result of this, if you go back to the very, very beginning here, if you generate leads and you convert more of those leads into customers, your acquisition cost per lead reduces and your acquisition cost per customer reduces, which means that for the same marketing dollar, you get more customers. Okay, so if you're spending $1,000 on ads and you can make your offer so appealing that more people opt in for it, you can keep spending the same amount of money, yet more people will come in. And that's what happened as a result of this offer. So that's an example of an offer, okay, just in that industry. Always add value, don't discount, never discount, all right? Always add value, very, very important. Okay, now once you've decided what you're gonna offer, you can then decide how you're gonna communicate it, okay? So, and once again, I'll go back and just review all these things so we stay on the same page. We decided who our ideal target market is. We then just worked out where we were going to find them in their highest concentration. Hopefully you're writing all this down. We then asked ourselves, why are they going to buy from us? What makes us different? We then said, what are we going to offer them? So we're going to make an offer to get them to buy from us. Now we're going to say, and only now do we decide how we're going to communicate it. Now, if you think about all the marketing you've done in the past, I can bet you started with this first. You've gone, I'm going to run a Facebook ad. And then you've gone, what am I going to put in it? It's the wrong way around, right? So now I can decide, how am I going to do it? Am I going to do email marketing? Am I going to do a Facebook ad? Am I going to do a strategic alliance? Maybe I'm going to partner with other people. You know, I can now decide how. Am I going to do, letterbox drops, which, by the way, are starting to work more effectively again. Go figure. Direct mail. Am I going to do direct mail? Yeah. Have I got a database? Can I send direct mail? Okay, I can start to work out all the different strategies and work out where I'm going to spend my time and effort. That's how I'm going to communicate it. Once I've worked out how I'm going to communicate it, then I can work out when I'm going to do it, my timing. Okay, there's a little bonus one there for you, because timing is everything, right? So you don't want to run an ad when, for example, right now in Victoria, you'd want to be careful because the people are in lockdown. So your product may not be able to be used or bought in Victoria. We've actually stopped marketing in Victoria at the moment for that reason. There's no one's going to work. No one's running their business. Everything's shut down. Would not be the smart thing to do. So we've stopped our advertising in Victoria. It might be something like, I remember once doing a seminar, and I built this business doing seminars, right? I remember once doing a seminar and getting there and no one was there. I'm thinking, what's going on? And someone said to me, State of Origin's on tonight. Now, I don't follow the footy. I had no idea, right? So when you do it is also very important, okay? And that's why tools like email and Google AdWords allows you to pick time slots when you run your ads, because there are certain times that work better than other times. All right, so how are you going to communicate it and when you're going to do it come after working out all the rest. Now, I did say at the beginning I was going to help you understand how much money you spend on your marketing. So I'm going to wrap it up with that. If you've got any questions, you can start typing them into the question box for me now, because I did allow 90 minutes for this, and I know that we'll have a bit of time for Q&A. So when it comes to working out how much money to spend on your marketing, it is knowing two numbers. The first one I want you to work out is what is the lifetime value of a customer. Now, a lifetime value of a customer is how much does that customer spend with me over time. So for example, let's say I have a program where it's $1,000 a year and a customer stays with me for average 3 years. Well, then I know that I'm going to get $3,000 worth of lifetime value from that customer. Okay, so that's the first number I need to know. Just going to quickly check my battery because I'm getting a light flashing there. No, it's all good. So I know my lifetime value is $3,000. The next thing I need to know is what is my cost of sale, okay, or gross profit. Because a percentage of that money for delivering my products or service has to pay for delivering it, right? So let's say I have to pay half of that, so 50%. Say it's 50%. Okay, so now I know that $1,500 is my gross profit, okay? And that could be 50% could go towards buying the product or the service, 50% just goes in delivering it, right? This is not including marketing costs. This is what it costs me to deliver that product or service. So if I sell something for $3,000 and it costs me $1,500 to buy it, that's my cost of sale, okay? So it's either cost of goods sold or it's cost of sale, variable cost, whatever you want to call it, doesn't matter. You need to know that number. Now, once I know my gross profit on average per customer, I then need to make a decision as to how much of that I'm willing to give up to acquire my new customer. Now, the challenge people have in marketing, let's say this does happen over 5 years, over 3 years, it's $1,000 a year, and it costs me $1,000 to get a customer. Well, then I've got to be prepared to know that I'm only going to make $500 in the first year from that customer. And I might get paid that over the years. That means I might even have to finance that. Okay, but at least I know that. Okay, now I'm constantly looking at how do I reduce my acquisition costs. Okay, so that's what's called acquisition cost. Now, the best way for me to explain this to you is if you spent $10,000 on an ad or on a marketing campaign and you've got 10 customers, your acquisition cost is $1,000 per customer. The way that we reduce that is by increasing our conversion rate or increasing a number of leads from that campaign without spending more money. And we do that by having a really good offer, okay? So when we have a really strong offer, more people will opt in. And when more people opt in, your marketing dollar goes further. So I'll give you an example that from my business. One of the marketing strategies we use is we use a business planning template on Facebook. It's called a lead magnet, okay? So we create this tool. It's called a business planning template. We know the people using that, we think about our ideal customer, they're looking for a tool to make their life easier. And that a business planning template is something that a business owner would want, right? So we know we're going to be on target in a lot of cases, not always. Sometimes we get off target because we get people that are studying business at school and they need a template, or we get people that think about starting a business and they're not yet our ideal customer because they don't have cash flow. So, but we offer that on Facebook. Now, when I first started running those campaigns about 9 years ago, the cost of acquisition would vary somewhere between $12 and $18 for a lead. We now have it around between $2 and $3. Exact same template, exact same marketing channel, still using Facebook, but we've reduced our acquisition costs from say $15 to $3. That means we get 5 times as many leads for the same marketing spend. Does that make sense? And so by sometimes just testing and measuring and knowing how to reduce your acquisition cost. Now, that's just by changing images, changing offers, getting better at our targeting, all of those things to get ourselves better results. We reduce the acquisition cost. Once you know this number, that then determines your marketing budget. It also then determines the success or failure of any campaign that you run. So if you're saying to yourself, you know, I'm spending $1,000 a month on Facebook and I'm only getting a client a month, doesn't seem very good, but your average lifetime value of that customer is $30,000 and your GP is 50%. Well, that's, you know, I'd pay $1,000 for 15 grand any day of the week, right? So it's about just working out what is profitable. And, you know, if you know those numbers, well, then you can work out how much I should be paying per lead and per customer. Now, you always want to be driving the acquisition costs down. You always want to be looking at how do I create better offers? How do I get better at my targeting? How do I reduce that acquisition cost? Because that's going to give you the best possible results, all right? But that's how you know how much money to spend on your marketing. The only way to know whether or not something is working is to test and measure these numbers. Okay, what is my acquisition cost? What's my conversion rate from that campaign? So it means that every time a lead comes in, you say, where did you hear about us? You document that down in a spreadsheet, or you use a CRM, something that tracks it for you. And then you're able from there to be able to determine what campaigns are working the best. Now, of course, you put your money into the ones that are giving you the best return, and that's how you scale up your marketing until they usually reach a saturation point. I know with Facebook, you get ad fatigue, just depends on the campaign, but you just keep piling money into it until it stops working. All right. And at some point you'll max that strategy out. And this is why it's important to have many different strategies. All righty. So any questions, pop them into the chat box now. I'm going to do my best to try and monitor both Facebook and let me get into here. 31 comments over here. Crikey. See if I can see all these comments. And over here, any questions as I finish this up, as we bring this in for a landing? What was the name of my template that I use? A business planning template. It's one that I've created. You'll find it on my website as well. Now, hopefully you've enjoyed today. If you have, awesome. I'm going to give you the opportunity to meet with me. So if you do want to have a chat with me about how we can help you grow your business, or a chat with one of my team, all you need to do is let me know in the chat box now. Or you can head across to, and I'm going to put the URL in now. As you think of your questions, I'm just going to quickly type this into the chat box. Calendly. Any questions whilst I'm doing this? Any questions for you? Let me know if you've got any questions about anything whatsoever, so I can. What happened there? System breakdown. Did you enjoy that, by the way? Old school flip chart. Who enjoyed that? I don't know why my Calendly account's not letting me log in. It's weird. Oh, it's the wrong one. Was great. Excellent. Fantastic. Oh, this is not going well at all. Do this one. bit.ly, bit.ly/chat Ben F. It should work. Yes, it does. So here we go. bit.ly/chat Ben F. Going into the chat box now. If you click on that link, here we go. Bang. To all attendees. Okay, I'm just going to pop it into the Facebook chat group as well. There we go. If you use that link, you'll be able to pick a time where you have a chat with me for up to half an hour. And there's no obligation to buy anything. But what we do is we help people like you build the business you imagine. So if you imagined having a business where it was easier to generate leads and you had better marketing and more people came in to buy from you, more ideal clients were dealing with you, but you don't have that, then you should talk to me. There's no obligation. I'm not going to try and sell you anything. What I'm looking for is I'm looking for those of you that are my ideal client. So I'm looking for people who are willing to change, looking to be coached, looking to grow, looking to have somebody guide them and push them through that journey. Okay. One of the services that we do offer is marketing. So we do have a marketing team that do a marketing service, but an ideal client doesn't just do marketing. They work with us one-on-one to help you grow and build your business. All righty. So if you feel like you've got some questions or you want some tailored one-on-one help or you'd like to have a chat with me, totally no obligation, then use that link, that chat with Ben link. I might just put the www and see if I can make it work a bit better because I can see it's not a clickable link. Does that work better? Still not a clickable link. Do I need to put the HTT in front of it? HTTP www. Maybe that'll work. Let's see. There we go. That worked. So I can click on that link and it's going to open the calendar up. Certainly does. Okay. All it is a chat with me, quick discovery call. I'm going to put that. Yep, it's working there. Good. It's working on the Facebook chat. All we're going to do is have a chat. And what I'll do is sort of discover where you're at, what it is you're trying to achieve and see if I can help you in some way, shape or form. I can't help everybody and I'm okay with that. But at least if you're curious, just scratch that itch, book yourself in for the session and we can have a chat. All righty. Very, very quick. What if you're already a client, Rob? Well, you can still talk to me if you want. If you want to have a chat, mate, more than happy. Click on the link. Let's have a chat. If you are already a client, I know a few of you are already clients, which is great. I really appreciate you joining the webinar live. You're more than welcome to book in for a chat with me if you want some questions answered about marketing. It's one of the benefits that you get. Can you see the recording later? Yes. Yeah, why not? This has been streamed live onto Facebook, which I'm going to end now. So all of you that are on Facebook, use that link down in the comment section if you want to meet with me and have a chat about your business to see whether or not I can help you. I'm going to stop the live.